Hey there, creepy peeps. So today I thought I would do something a little bit different and talk about books. Well, I guess it's not that different for me to talk about books. I talked quite a lot about books in my October favorites video, actually. But I thought I would talk about a specific book, maybe review it for you, if you will. I just finished this like 1 or 2 days ago. Yeah, let me get it. I feel quite in the mood to talk about books right now. I got like some candles going back here. I got a cup of tea, which is still too hot for me to drink, so I'm not going to. But I feel quite bookish. I just wish I was in like a big old comfy like love seat or something like that. That would make it perfect. And if I was in a library. As much as I love watching horror movies, I also love reading creepy and scary books. This one isn't really scary, but it does have a very creepy theme, a very unusual theme, peculiar, if you will. It's Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. This is one of those books that, if you excuse me, I'm just going to keep playing with the book while I'm holding it. I can't hold things and not do this. This is one of those books that every time I went into a Barnes & Noble or bookstore or anything like that, I would see it, and I think I've read the back of this about 1,000,000 times. Like, I'd be like, huh, oh, I have read the back of this. Okay, but there was always books I wanted more than this at the time, so I never ended up picking it up. And maybe about like a week or so ago, I was in Barnes & Noble, surprise, surprise, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna read it. It looks cool, looks creepy, and it was. In case you haven't heard of this book, haven't picked it up, haven't read it or anything yet, it is about a boy, Jacob, who grows up hearing these stories from his grandfather about this island and about this place that was run by a bird, and there was all these peculiar children there that could do all these amazing things, and he would have pictures that he would show Jacob, like of an invisible boy and a girl who could levitate, like the girl on the cover. And it starts off with Jacob quite young, or he's remembering when he was quite young, and he believed these stories and he thought his grandpa was so cool, and he had all these awesome stories, and he had an awesome life. And as he gets older, Jacob starts to not believe him and starts to believe more that his grandfather is just crazy. His grandfather is a war veteran, so Jacob starts to think, well, maybe it's some sort of post-traumatic stress, and the monsters he keeps talking about are the enemy, and blah, blah, blah. And this kind of leads up to really the start of the rising action, where Jacob goes to visit his grandfather because he calls him at work, and he seems like he's having like an episode or something like that, and he finds his grandfather in the woods with his insides on his outsides and all dying and whatnot. In the distance, he sees this monster, a monster that his grandfather has described before, and Jacob's kind of like, holy shit. Either my grandfather was telling the truth, or I'm just as crazy as he is. Well, obviously his grandfather dies, and as he's dying, he tells him this kind of like riddle, which end up being clues to lead him to this island that he's always talking about, and the bird. As Jacob and his father and his aunt are going through his grandfather's things, Jacob finds a letter from a Miss Peregrine, and he kind of puts 2 and 2 together, and like, this is the bird, this is, in case you didn't know, a peregrine is a bird. I think it's a hawk or something like that, or a hawk-like kind of thing. And he has like another holy shit moment. This is probably real. So he convinces his parents and his psychiatrist to let him visit the island. He wants to find this place with all the peculiar children to prove that he was not crazy, and to prove that his grandfather was definitely not crazy. And that's basically the premise for this. I'm not going to give anything else away because you should read it. I was hooked. Like, it's just so good. I really love the story. The only thing I didn't really like about it is, I guess I'll spoil a little bit of it for you. There is a romance between Jacob and one of the peculiar girls, Emma, and I love a good romantic story, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't really fit in the book for me. Like, it just seemed, what's the word I'm looking for? It seemed superfluous, if you will. Like, it just seemed extra, like not really needed. It didn't carry any part of the story. And there's another reason why I think it's a little weird, but I don't want to give that away. But yeah, I could have done without that. I don't know, maybe in the sequel something more happens with that, and maybe I'll be team Jacob and Emma, but right now I'm not. But other than that, I think the story is really unique. It's just really, really gripping. I sound really lame right now, but this is just a really good book. And what's really, really cool about it is that throughout the book, there's these pictures. Like in the beginning of the story, Jacob is looking at these pictures that his grandfather has of these peculiar children that he knew in the home. I mean, they're throughout the story. The cool part is the author, Ransom Riggs, he actually collects old and weird photos. So some of these are his, some of them are from other people's collections of weird photographs. But I just thought that was so cool that these are actual photographs that either the author or somebody else owns, and he kind of built the story around them. I just think that's so cool. And they're written into the story as well. Like, they don't just serve as illustrations, they're actually written into the story. Riggs writes the action, like Jacob's either looking at a picture, somebody takes the picture, or he finds the picture, something like that, and then you see it. So they're actually written into the story, and it's just so cool that he kind of built this story around the photographs that he had, which was, I think, is super cool. And probably the best part about this is that it is being made into a movie. I think it's still in the really early stages. They've only booked a director, and they've only cast Miss Peregrine. The woman that's gonna play Miss Peregrine is Eva Green, which for some reason the only movie I can think of that she's been in is one of the James Bond movies. She's the Bond girl that like dies underwater or something like that. I don't know. But she's also in Penny Dreadful as well, if you watch that show. I think the boy that's gonna play Jacob is only rumored. It's the guy, his name is really weird. It's like, it's ASA, that's his first name. Is it like, I don't know if it's like Asia, I don't know what it is. Butterfield, I think his name is. I'll put his picture up as well, so maybe you guys can recognize him. I know he was in Ender's Game. I didn't see that movie or read that book or anything, but I remember the previews. He was Ender in Ender's Game. And the director, the most exciting part, which completely sold me on this movie, like 100%, the director is gonna be Tim Burton. I'm so excited for that. Like, I don't know. In case you can't tell, I have like a Nightmare Before Christmas poster behind me. I just love the look of his movies. They're just so creepy and dark, and I love it. So I'm super excited for this movie, and I'm really interested to see how they incorporate the pictures into the film, if they're going to, because they're as much a part of the story as the words are. Like, they're written into the story. So it's going to be really cool to see how Burton and the other filmmakers like kind of write that in. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, soon to be a movie. Not soon to be a movie, it's gonna be a movie sometime. And yeah, I don't know if this was random or awkward or anything for me to have a book review on here. I really love reading as much as I love watching scary movies. So, and I kind of want to make this a thing, like a little book talk or book club or something. I don't know. If I do it, I think I want to do it regularly maybe, but I'll keep them kind of spaced apart. I do read kind of quickly, which is a blessing and a curse. I also wanted to mention, maybe I guess like an honorable mention or something. It's just a bunch of short, scary, weird, creepy stories that have also been illustrated. It is Through the Woods. The stories are by Emily Carroll, and I just really loved it. I love the illustrations. I think they're super cool, and like, I don't know, I love a good picture book. And the stories are just so unique and different, and they're really, really creepy. I'm not going to give any away. They're unique stories, and I love the illustrations, and they're just so cool. Go check it out. That's all I'm going to say about it, really, because you should just read the stories. Like, they're just so cool and scary. So that's like kind of like a little honorable mention there. Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. Check it out. And that's all I have for you this week. Let me know if you've read either of those books in the comment section. And let me know if you'd like to see more of this kind of like book club kind of thing. I really like talking about books just as much as I love talking about movies. If I do make this a regular thing, book club kind of thing, and you want to know what I plan on talking about next, I just started reading Asylum by Madeleine Roux. It's another, this one looks like it's actually going to be a little scarier. I mean, look at that picture. That's weird, right? This one looks like it'll be a little scarier than Miss Peregrine, so I'm really excited to read this. I did buy the sequel to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. It's called The Hollow City, I believe. So I'll be reading that, but I got this at the same time I got Miss Peregrine, so I wanted to read this next. So that's what I'm going to read next, and if I make another video like this, this is what I'm going to be talking about. So I will see you guys in the next video, and until then, stay strange. Bye!